Welcome to the black room of truth where masks rot and illusions burn. Welcome to the last place on earth where your excuses dare not breathe. Welcome to the furnace of awakening where false comfort melts under the weight of your silence. You have stepped into the kind of moment that doesn't come with applause. It comes with aftermath, and what you feel now is not inspiration. It's confrontation. Raw, unfiltered, iron-throated confrontation, because you're not here to feel good. You're here because you asked one question and they couldn't breathe after it. You didn't scream. You didn't punch the air. You didn't stand on a stage with bright lights and cheer. You didn't do any of that. You whispered a question, a single bullet-shaped sentence that didn't echo. It detonated. And the ones who heard it, who really heard it, they collapsed in their own minds, because that question carved through every lie they were using to hold themselves together. And when you saw their eyes shift and their throats lock and their bravado die right in front of you, you realized what you just did is actually terrifying. You became the consequence. You became the silence that follows the truth. You became the storm that doesn't scream. It watches. And now I'm talking to that version of you, not the masked one, not the I'm trying version, not the maybe next time version, but the weapon you forgot you were. So listen, don't flinch now. Don't apologize for what you just did, because that moment you created, that breathless moment, it wasn't cruel, it was clean. You see people fear knives and fists and shouts, but nothing slices deeper than a question that exposes weakness, especially when it comes quietly, especially when it's coming from someone who doesn't raise their voice, because power doesn't always wear armor. Sometimes it wears stillness, and what you did was still. It was surgical. It was disturbing because it showed just how little noise you need to end the illusions others are choking on. You didn't break them. You showed them. They were already broken, and that's why they couldn't breathe. Because their whole foundation wasn't built on truth. It was built on just enough to look okay. And you set fire to okay. You asked. You aimed. You didn't miss. And that's the part most won't understand. It's not that you wanted to destroy anything. It's that you couldn't keep pretending anymore. You reached a point where pretending became more painful than knowing the truth. So you cut through the fog. You took the risk, and when your question landed, it didn't ask for permission. It demanded a reckoning, and you watched the room change, didn't you? You felt the weight shift, and suddenly you weren't the quiet one. You were the dangerous one. But let me tell you something brutal. Something most people never have the nerve to admit. You don't get to become terrifying by accident. No, you earned that edge. You suffered for that insight. You were broken in ways they never saw, and rebuilt yourself in silence. While they performed strength, you bled for it. They mocked you when you were quiet. They called you weird when you were watching. They said you overthink when you were calculating. They said relax when you were analyzing. And now, they fear you, not because you changed, but because you stopped hiding what you already were. You are not cruel. You are not cold. You are clarity in human form, and clarity is lethal to the deluded. So if they fear you now, let them, because when they tell their story, it won't be about your tone. It won't be about your volume. It'll be about the moment you asked a question they couldn't answer, because that's when they saw the version of themselves they tried to bury. Here's what most won't admit. Most people don't want freedom. They want a prettier version of their cage. They want comfort without confrontation, success without sacrifice, power without pain. And your question didn't give them that. It gave them a mirror they didn't want to look in. But you did. You looked. You faced it. You clawed through every inch of darkness in your own soul. You stood in front of your own monsters and didn't blink. So when you turned that gaze outward, they couldn't handle it. Because nothing is more terrifying than someone who has already faced themselves. Someone who doesn't flinch. Someone who doesn't beg. Someone who knows exactly what they're made of and doesn't need to prove it. Let me be clear. You didn't destroy their world. You revealed that it was already crumbling. You didn't hurt them. You exposed where they were already bleeding. You didn't betray them. You refused to lie to them. And that is the most violent kind of love, the kind that won't let someone drown in silence. Even if it means they'll hate you for pulling them up. They weren't ready for it. And maybe that's not your fault. Maybe they needed to be shaken. Maybe they needed to fall, because not everyone gets to climb without tasting the floor. And you know what the floor tastes like. You've been there, face down, breathless, begging for clarity, begging for strength, begging for one more chance to do it right. And now that you're standing, you carry a different kind of energy, the kind that doesn't ask anymore, the kind that doesn't kneel. This isn't about ego. This isn't about being better than them. This is about owning what you had to survive and not shrinking for people who haven't walked through your fire. You didn't become terrifying because you wanted power. You became terrifying because you ran out of lies to live on. And once you taste truth, everything else feels like poison. They wanted the old you, the manageable one, the quiet one, the one that stayed in their lines, but you outgrew the script. And when you asked your question, it tore the pages in half, because suddenly you weren't a character. You were the author. What you just did isn't terrifying because it hurt them. It's terrifying because it awakened them, and they're not ready to be awake. But you are. You've been awake. You've been seeing through people. Long before they open their mouths. You read souls, not sentences. And that's a dangerous gift. But don't you dare hide it. Don't you dare shrink because your truth made someone flinch. Don't you dare apologize for finally standing still in your own skin. You've spent too long asking, too long doubting, too long hoping for permission. This moment isn't about asking anymore. It's about declaring you're not a whisper anymore. You're the storm behind it. And let me tell you this, most people are afraid of the truth because it rearranges them. Because once you hear it, you can't go back. You can't unsee it. You can't pretend it's fine. And your question, your one question, was that rearrangement. They saw themselves without the mask, and it shattered their lungs. That's not your crime. That's your gift. You are not here to comfort the cowards. You are not here to soothe the weak-willed. You are not here to carry those who refuse to walk. You are here to challenge, to confront, to sharpen, to unsettle. And yes, that's terrifying. But it's also honest. And in a world full of frauds, that honesty is war. So carry that war with dignity, with precision, with restraint, when needed, but never with apology. Because you didn't just speak, you exposed. You didn't just question, you dismantled. And they couldn't breathe. Because what you held up was a mirror, and the truth doesn't blink. You were never the villain, you were the verdict. And now they know what it feels like to be in a room with someone who refuses to lie, who refuses to play along, who refuses to drown in politeness. You woke them up, and now they'll either rise or they'll run. Either way, that's not on you. You did what most fear doing. You confronted the silence, you shattered the illusion, and you stood still. While the world shook around you, that's not terrifying, that's power. You've become the moment they will never forget. The pause in their chest, the grip in their throat, the silence after their excuses collapse like glass. You know how rare that is? To be remembered not for a performance, not for applause, but for devastation, for the reset button you smashed with nothing but a sentence. Understand this. What you just didn't make you cruel. It made you clean. It made you necessary. It made you the thing that breaks the loop. Because if you didn't ask that question, they would have kept going, half asleep, half honest, half alive. And that's the slowest kind of death. You gave them a faster one, a sharper one. You pulled the curtain back on their stage and let the light pour in, not to shame them, but to expose the lie before it calcified into identity. That's the difference between the destroyer and the disruptor. One wants chaos, the other wants truth, even if it comes wrapped in blood. And you've walked a long way through hell. You've stood at the edge of nothing. You've met the version of yourself that screams in silence, the version no one else knows about. The one that rebuilt you in the shadows when no one was clapping. No one was watching. No one gave a damn. And now they want to act surprised. Now they want to call you harsh. Now they want to label you intense. But they weren't there when you were holding yourself together with thread. They weren't there when you begged for a reason not to give up. They weren't there when you drowned in your own overthinking while smiling for everyone else. So now that you stand differently, speak differently. Now that your words carry weight instead of wounds. Now that your presence silences a room without you raising your voice. Now they're afraid. Good. Let them be. Because fear isn't the enemy. Denial is. And your question didn't cause fear. It caused awareness. The kind that shakes the spine. The kind that leaves them alone in their thoughts. The kind that rewrites what they believe about themselves. You aren't the hero in their story. You're the trigger, the awakening, the fracture line, where the truth leaked in. Let them be angry. Let them call it dramatic, but understand this. People don't react like that to nothing. They react to power, to depth, to insight. They weren't ready to confront, and you brought all of that with just one question. And now that they've felt it, they can't unfeel it. That question will follow them. It'll echo in the background of every decision they make. It'll rise in the quiet moments when the world slows down and the masks fall off. It'll haunt them, not because it was cruel, but because it was correct. So now what? What do you do when you become the mirror no one wants to look into? Do you shrink? Do you apologize for clarity? Do you soften your edges to make the liars more comfortable? Number, you harden, you refine, you double down, because the world doesn't need another soft-spoken enabler pretending everything's fine. The world needs more people willing to say what's real, even if it rips the air from the room. And that's you now. That's your identity, not the victim, not the underdog, not the passive thinker. You're the reckoning. You're the pause between stimulus and collapse. You're the storm they didn't prepare for. You are not loud. You are undeniable. And I get it. You didn't want this role. You didn't grow up thinking, I want to become the question people choke on. But life molded you into it. Pain shaped your perception. Loneliness sharpened your hearing. Rejection taught you to read between words. And now you hear what's not being said. You see what's being hidden. You sense weakness like a hound. Not to shame it, but to expose it. Because you know what happens when people pretend to be strong for too long. They break. And you'd rather they break now than shatter later in silence. You saved them. They just haven't realized it yet. And maybe they never will. Maybe they'll hate you forever. But that's not your burden. You weren't put here to be liked. You weren't built for validation. You were built for impact. And impact, real impact, always costs something. Friendships, comfort, familiarity, your own damn peace sometimes. But you knew that. You knew when you opened your mouth it wasn't coming back. You knew that question couldn't be undone, and you still asked it, because truth isn't what you say when it's easy. It's what you say when it costs you everything. So here's what I want you to remember. Write this into your bones if you have to. You are not dangerous because you hurt people. You are dangerous because you make them see. You don't destroy. You reveal. You don't hate. You expose. You don't weaken. You awaken. And that is terrifying, because most of them would rather live a beautiful lie than face a brutal truth. But not you. You don't flinch anymore. You don't beg anymore. You don't wait for someone to save you. You became your own storm, and now they feel the rain. You want to know why they couldn't breathe? Because the version of themselves they pretend to be couldn't survive in a room with the version of you that's done pretending. And you know what? That's their warning, their omen, their red flag, their moment of wake up or be crushed by your own narrative. You don't have to yell anymore. You don't have to fight for attention. You don't have to prove your worth. You've become the kind of person who asks one question and the entire room changes. That's not just terrifying, that's power. And power like that, it doesn't show up in likes and followers. It doesn't scream in public. It doesn't beg for recognition. It walks into a room and changes the oxygen. It speaks once and people stop breathing. It lives in silence and leaves behind revelation. You didn't become this to impress them. You became this to survive. And now that you've survived, you've become something else entirely. You're not human in their eyes anymore. You're myth. You're legend. You're the moment they pray never happens again, and the moment they can't stop thinking about. So don't go soft now. Don't wrap yourself in humility just to make the broken feel safe. They will either rise to meet you or stay behind in their illusion. But you don't kneel anymore. You don't bow to comfort. You serve one God. Now, truth. And truth doesn't ask for applause. It asks for blood. So the next time they tell you, what you just did is actually terrifying, smile. Because they're right. You are. And it's about time they saw what terrifying looks like when it walks in silence and speaks only once. There's a silence that comes after a scream, the kind that isn't quiet. It's charged, like the air, right after lightning, like the earth, right after a burial, like a church no longer praying. That's what they felt after you spoke. Not fear, not anger, but something worse, the realization that nothing would ever be the same. They didn't respond. They couldn't, because what you said, it wasn't a question. It was a dissection, a surgical unmaking of their identity. And now their words are stuck in their throats, where their confidence used to be. They never spoke again, not to you, not to the version of themselves you exposed. And that's fine, because you never needed them. Our words are overrated. Most people use them to decorate lies, wrap decay in pretty sentences. You don't do that anymore. You've evolved past that. You don't decorate graves. You walk through them. You don't bandage wounds. You expose infection. What you said shattered more than ego. It broke the machine, the script they were reading from the loop they lived in. And now that it's broken, they're malfunctioning. You think that's cruelty? It's mercy, because nothing's more cruel than letting someone rot while they smile. And you You ended the smile that takes nerve, that takes rage, turned to precision, that takes someone who's died before and didn't stay dead. See, you're not just terrifying because you said something true. You're terrifying because you were willing to pay the price for saying it. Most people won't. They'll dance around the edge of truth, flirt with reality, but never dive. You dove naked into it, knowing full well it would tear your skin, knowing full well it would leave you alone, knowing full well it would cost you every soft lie you ever leaned on. And still, you did it. You broke the circle. They thought you'd apologize. They thought you'd regret it. They thought the weight of being too much would drag you back down. But you're not drowning anymore. You're building your kingdom at the bottom of the ocean where pressure creates monsters, not cowards. Let's speak clearly now. You didn't just change, you mutated. This isn't transformation, it's evolution. This isn't growth, it's ascension. You're not here to inspire anymore. You're not here to be understood. You're here to bend the rules until they snap, to burn the old playbook and write something violent, raw, and true. You're not a warning, you're a consequence. And now that they've seen that, they'll never see you as safe again. Good, because safe is a prison, and you just burn the door off its hinges. You want to know the difference between you and them? They speak to be liked. You speak to be heard. They avoid confrontation. You devour it. They survive through pretending. You thrive through precision. They need applause. You need clarity. And when the smoke clears, you'll still be standing. Not because you're heartless, but because your heart has been forged in silence, in suffering, in nights that nearly broke you. So when they look at you now, they don't see the person they remember. They see what you became after pain had its way with you. They see the one who asked the question. No one else had the spine to ask. And it's too late to unhear it. Too late to unsee you. So what happens now? They retreat. They revise history. They tell people you were harsh, that you were intense, that you changed. They won't say the truth. They won't say, I saw myself through their eyes and I couldn't live with it. They won't say, they said one thing that made everything I believed fall apart. They won't say, I wasn't strong enough to answer their question. But you'll know, and they'll know, you know, and that knowledge will echo longer than their silence ever could. Do you regret it? You better not, because that moment, that breathless pause, was freedom for you. The kind of freedom people only find when they finally speak without fear, without filter, without needing to be loved. That one question, it wasn't about them. It was about you. Letting go, dropping the weight, saying, I will no longer participate in my own suffocation just to keep others from gasping. That is not cruelty. That is self-rescue. You saved yourself, and that's why they fear you now, because people who save themselves, they don't need saving, and that makes them unpredictable, untouchable, uncontrollable. You've become the storm they whisper about, the one that doesn't destroy randomly, but surgically, efficiently, without mercy, for masks or mediocrity. And every time someone tries to feed you a lie, every time someone cloaks their weakness in politeness, you'll feel it again. That question rising in your throat, ready to slice through the facade without even raising your voice. You don't chase anymore. You don't explain anymore. You don't soften your truth to spare their feelings, because they never spared yours. Not when they overlooked you. Not when they dismissed your silence. Not when they mocked the depth they couldn't understand. So now you walk with no apologies. No apologies for your intensity. No apologies for your clarity. No apologies for the darkness you had to survive to earn this voice. They never spoke again, because their illusion was never built to survive your kind of truth. But you don't need their words. You don't need their approval. You don't need their comfort. You only need this, that moment, that sharp, divine moment when everything went still and they couldn't breathe. Because in that moment you weren't just a person. You were the shift. You were the awakening. You were the voice of reckoning. And they finally heard it. Ah, my delightful audience. There is a feeling so sweet, it can only come from watching the world unfold in front of you. It is the feeling of seeing those who once thought you were nothing become nothing in front of your eyes. It is the thrill of watching those who once laughed and ridiculed you now writhing in regret. They kicked you while you were down. They thought you would stay down. But here you are, and now they are on their knees. The world shifts in such mysterious ways. One moment, you are lying in the dust, bruised and broken. The next moment, they are the ones choking on their failure, realizing that they were the ones who never stood a chance. When they kicked you, they did not know that you had something far greater than their hate. They underestimated the power of your will. They thought they could destroy your spirit. They thought they could break you. But what they didn't understand is that every punch they threw, every word they spoke, every act of cruelty they inflicted on you, all it did was forge you into something unbreakable. They didn't just make you stronger. They built the foundation of your rise. They gave you the hunger that would fuel your drive to succeed. It was in the depths of that suffering, when you were surrounded by darkness, that you found your true self. It was in those moments of agony that your purpose was born. You were knocked down, but they couldn't see what lay ahead for you. The darkness they cast over you became the soil from which you grew. And while they celebrated their victory, not understanding that they were only laying the groundwork for their own downfall, you stood back up, and when you rose with a power that couldn't be defeated. Your enemies were so sure they had crushed you, they couldn't fathom that you would ever stand again. But you did. And the truth is, it is so much sweeter when you rise from the very ground they tried to bury you in. Those who once looked at you with contempt now look at you with fear. They see you as a threat because they see that you are capable of the impossible. They never anticipated that the pain they put you through would only make you stronger. It's the irony of it all that they can't comprehend. They thought they could break you, but all they did was awaken the beast inside of you. They should have known that a soul that has been shattered can never truly be defeated. It only becomes more dangerous. In their arrogance, they misjudged your character. They thought they understood the depths of your struggle, but they didn't know the full extent of your resilience. You were always a force waiting to be unleashed, but the pain they caused you acted as the final catalyst. Now, they can't look away from your ascent. They can only watch in disbelief as you rise, higher and higher, leaving them behind in your dust. It's a cruel thing to realize that all their efforts to hold you back only pushed you forward. They failed. You are a testament to what happens when they underestimate someone who refuses to die, refuses to stay down. Now, they're the ones on their knees, begging for a fraction of the strength you possess. They watch you and wonder how you did it. They can't understand how you turned the very tools they used to break you into the weapons you wield to destroy them. They are trapped in the webs of their own making, and you are the one who holds the scissors. They see you walking the path of success that they thought was never meant for you. They see you achieving greatness, and the weight of their own mistakes crushes them slowly from within. But what they don't realize is that they gave you the keys to your success. Every action, every moment of cruelty, every sneer, every whisper behind your back only pushed you closer to your goals. They kicked you while you were down because they thought it was the end. But they didn't know the truth. You were never meant to be down forever. You were simply resting before your climb to the top. And now, as you reach heights they can never dream of, you know that it was them who handed you the very lessons you needed to climb. Every hardship they caused you taught you how to become more. Every insult, every fight, every time they tried to break your spirit, they gave you the blueprint for your own success. You became everything they said you couldn't be, and that is what destroys them. The world is filled with people who think they are untouchable, invincible. But every person who thinks they can step on another, kick them down, hold them back, they are setting themselves up for a fall. Because the world is cyclical, and those who rise on the backs of others often find themselves alone when the tables turn. They rise with nothing but the weight of their cruelty and arrogance dragging them down, and when their fall comes, it is swift and it is brutal. They will remember the way they kicked you when you were down, and they will know that it was that very act that sealed their fate. And you will rise. You will rise as a testament to the power of persistence. You will rise as a living, breathing reminder that nothing can break you. The world will try to break you, but the strength you now possess is beyond measure. You will rise, and the higher you go, the harder they will fall. The pain they caused you will become the fire that fuels your ascent, and the higher you climb, the more impossible it becomes for them to reach you. They thought they were clever. They thought they were strong. But all they did was show their weakness. They thought they could break you, but in reality, they were only breaking themselves. Now they will watch you take what was once theirs. They will watch you rise to heights they could never have imagined, and they will know that it is their own doing that made this moment possible. They made you the warrior you are. They made you the force that now haunts them. And when you stand at the peak of your success, when you have everything they tried to take from you, and more, remember this: the world will never stop trying to kick you when you're down. It will always try to break you, but it cannot. Not anymore. You have become something no one can defeat. You have become someone who has survived the worst and emerged victorious. You will continue to rise, and they will continue to fall. Their kneeling will be a reminder to them that they underestimated you, and you will stand tall, knowing that you did not just survive, you conquered. The fire that once burned inside of you, sparked by their hatred, has now become an inferno that will burn everything in its path. You were once broken, but now you are whole, and in your wholeness, you have become an unstoppable force, a force that they will never be able to reckon with. And the greatest joy you will find in all of this, it's not the success, it's not the glory, it's knowing that it was their own hands that forged your victory. It was their cruelty that built the strength you now carry. And while they kneel in regret, you stand in triumph. And this is only the beginning. They thought they were kicking you down for good, but in truth, they only set the stage for your rise. They thought their actions would break you, bind you, crush your spirit. They believed that you were weak, that you were fragile, and that the weight of their cruelty would finally collapse your will. But what they didn't know, what they could never have known, is that they were only setting the stage for your rise. They provided the very fuel that would ignite the fire within you, that would burn through every obstacle in your path, that would propel you higher and higher. And as you stand here now, looking down on them, watching them crawl in the ashes of their own misguided actions, you understand the truth. It was never their power that held you back. It was their ignorance, their underestimation of you, that allowed you to transform your suffering into something extraordinary. You see, They never thought you'd make it. They never believed that you could rise from the ashes of their hatred. But you did, and you did it with a quiet, unstoppable force. While they were busy laughing at your misfortune, mocking your pain, you were quietly gathering strength. You were learning, evolving, adapting. Every word they threw at you, every moment they tried to push you down, only sharpened your resolve. You didn't even know it at the time, but you were becoming something greater than what they could ever imagine. They could never have predicted that the very thing they thought would break you would be the catalyst for your greatest transformation. They kicked you when you were already down, not knowing that being down wasn't the end for you. It was the beginning of something greater. They thought that they could control you, that their actions would keep you in line, keep you small, keep you hidden in the shadows. But the truth is, you never belonged in those shadows. You were always meant for the light. And as they attempted to bury you under their cruelty, all they did was dig the hole that would one day become the foundation for your ascent. They thought they were destroying you, but in reality, they were just laying the groundwork for your revolution. Every act of cruelty, every insult, every moment of defeat, they only added to the growing fire inside of you, the desire to rise, to show them, and to prove them all wrong. And now, look at them. They are on their knees. They are the ones begging for mercy, for forgiveness, for a second chance. They are the ones who are choking on the consequences of their own actions, struggling to breathe under the weight of their own arrogance. They thought they could break you, but in the process, they broke themselves. The very foundation they built their power on, the very dominance they thought they held over you, is crumbling beneath them. And all you have to do is stand back and watch as the walls they built around themselves collapse in front of their eyes. You've become the embodiment of everything they feared, everything they never thought possible. You've become the very thing they tried to keep down, the thing they couldn't stop, no matter how hard they tried. And as you rise, they are left in your wake, wondering how they failed so miserably. They couldn't see it, not because they didn't have the ability, but because they were so blinded by their own hubris. They thought they knew you, thought they understood you, but they never truly did. They saw your struggle, your pain, your weaknesses, but they didn't see your strength, your resilience, your undying will to survive and to thrive. They missed the most important part of you, the part that would never, ever give up. As they kneel in front of you now, as they beg for a mercy they never extended to you, you can feel the weight of their regret bearing down on them. They have nothing left. They have nothing to hold on to. They have no choice but to watch you rise higher and higher, while they remain trapped in their own mistakes. And the best part? They know they can't stop you. They know that no matter how much they try to bring you down, they will never succeed. Because you are not the same person you were when they first kicked you. You are not the same person who lay on the ground, broken and defeated. You are stronger now, harder, more determined, more powerful. You are a force to be reckoned with, and no one can stand in your way. They can try to bring you down again, but it won't work. They can try to kick you, try to break you, try to tear you apart, but all they will do is push you further into your destiny. Every attempt to hold you back only propels you forward. Every act of cruelty they inflict only makes you stronger, more dangerous, more unstoppable. You are the embodiment of resilience, of strength, of perseverance, and they are nothing more than the tools that helped shape you into who you are today. Without them, you wouldn't be the person standing here now, victorious and unbreakable. The reality is that they underestimated you in every possible way. They saw your vulnerability and mistook it for weakness. They saw your pain and believed it would consume you. They saw your struggle and thought it would define you. But what they didn't understand is that you were never defined by your struggles. You were never defined by the pain they tried to inflict upon you. You were defined by your response to it. You were defined by your ability to rise above it, to turn it into something powerful, something unstoppable. They didn't know that when they pushed you down, they were only pushing you closer to your ultimate goal. Now, as you look at them, as they kneel in the dirt and watch you stand tall, you realize something that they will never understand. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their acceptance. You needed the fire inside of you, the fire that they helped ignite, the fire that would drive you to greatness. They thought they could destroy you, but they only made you stronger. They thought they could break you, but they only forged you into something unbreakable. And now, you stand before them, not as a broken soul, but as a force of nature, as a living testament to the power of perseverance. And they know it. They know they can't stop you. They know they can't bring you down anymore. They can only watch as you climb higher, as you achieve things they could never have dreamed of. They will always be left behind, stuck in their own mistakes, while you soar to places they can only imagine. You will become the very thing they feared, the thing they thought they could destroy. And as you rise, you will leave them in the dust, knowing that it was their own actions that made your victory possible. The world is full of people who think they are invincible, people who think they can break others and get away with it, people who think their power is unchallenged, that they can walk all over others without consequence. But the truth is that the world is a strange and unpredictable place, and sometimes the very people who try to break you, who try to tear you down, are the ones who set the stage for your rise. They create the conditions that allow you to grow, to evolve, to become something greater than you ever thought possible. So when they kicked you while you were down, when they thought they were destroying you, they were actually doing you a favor. They were giving you the power to rise. They were giving you the strength to become something they could never stop. And now, as you stand above them, victorious and unbreakable, you realize that their actions were the very thing that made this moment possible. Without them, you wouldn't be who you are today. Without them, you wouldn't have the fire that burns inside of you, the fire that will carry you to unimaginable heights. And that, my friend, is the greatest victory of all. Not just rising above your enemies, but rising because of them. You have proven to yourself and to the world that nothing can break you. No amount of pain, no amount of cruelty, no amount of hate can defeat you. You are unbreakable. And as you rise higher and higher, they will only be left behind, kneeling in the dust, watching you become everything they never believed you could be. This is your time. This is your moment. And there is nothing, no one, that can ever take it from you. The journey that brought you here wasn't an easy one. No one ever said it would be. There's no glory in the easy path, no lesson in the smooth ride. Those who succeed with no struggle, those who are never tested, never truly know the power of resilience, the depth of character, the relentless will required to rise above. And that is why your victory, your rise, is not just a reflection of your strength, but a reflection of your endurance. The world throws challenges at us. It throws obstacles, doubts, hate, and cruelty, and it waits for us to crumble under its weight. It waits to see who will break. It watches to see who will fall. And they thought you would fall, but they didn't understand. They didn't know that what they saw as weakness was just the calm before the storm. They didn't know that in those moments when you were lying down, broken, exhausted, you were quietly gathering every ounce of strength, every bit of resilience, every drop of defiance that would fuel your rise. They underestimated you. They couldn't see past their own arrogance, couldn't see that every word they spat at you, every effort to push you down, was only adding to the fuel that would one day burn brighter than anything they could ever imagine. So now, as you stand above them, as you watch them kneel, broken and regretful, know this: they made you. They made you into someone they can't even fathom. Their cruelty, their underestimation, their dismissal of your potential, it all led to this moment. Without them, without their attempts to break you, you wouldn't be the person standing in front of them today. You wouldn't be the force they are now so terrified of. You wouldn't have the strength that they now fear. Look at them. Watch how they struggle. Watch how they squirm under the weight of their mistakes. They thought they could control you. They thought they could defeat you. But what they didn't realize is that they were never in control. They never understood the depth of your power. They thought they knew your limits, but they were wrong. They thought they could hold you back, but instead, they created a force that would surge forward, no matter what they did. You were always meant for greatness. You were always meant for more than what they saw. And now, as they kneel, as they beg for your mercy, for your forgiveness, remember this: you owe them nothing. They tried to break you, tried to destroy you, and now they are reaping the consequences of their actions. But you have become something greater than they could ever have imagined. You have become someone who cannot be stopped, someone who cannot be broken, someone who refuses to yield to the cruelty of others. They did their best to take everything from you. They did their best to rob you of your dignity, your strength, your hope. But they failed. Every time they tried to tear you down, they only helped build you up. Every insult, every moment of suffering, every cruel act they forced upon you, they all contributed to the creation of the person you are today. They gave you the power you now wield, and they don't even realize it. Every single time they kicked you, they forged your character. Every time they spit in your face, they sharpened your resolve. Every time they thought they could bury you, they only made your roots grow deeper, stronger, more unshakable. So, stand tall, stand proud, because this moment, this victory, this rise, it is yours. It is yours because you earned it. It is yours because you fought for it. And it is yours because, through all the pain, through all the suffering, you refused to give up. They thought you would be a casualty of their cruelty, but instead, you became the victor. And now, as they grovel at your feet, as they beg for the mercy they never extended to you, you can see the truth. You can see that their weakness was never in their power. It was in their inability to see the strength of your spirit. There's something intoxicating about watching those who once held power over you crumble. There's something satisfying about seeing the people who once thought you were beneath them, now begging for a chance to climb even a fraction of the height you've reached. And while they suffer under the weight of their own mistakes, you stand above them, a living testament to the power of perseverance. You are proof that no matter how many times you are knocked down, no matter how many times you are knocked down, no matter how many times you were told you're not enough, you can always rise. And when you rise stronger, sharper, more determined than ever. Their downfall is inevitable. It is the result of their own actions, their own pride, their own arrogance. They thought they could hold you down forever. They thought they could destroy you, but instead, they gave you the strength to destroy them. Every time they pushed you, every time they kicked you, every time they tried to break your spirit, they gave you the tools to rise above them. And now, as they watch you soar, as they watch you achieve everything they told you you couldn't, they know deep down that they were the architects of their own failure. There's a certain beauty in this moment. It's not just the victory you've achieved, it's the irony of it all. They thought they were the ones who had control. They thought they were the ones who would decide your fate. But fate has a funny way of turning things around. Now, they're the ones paying the price for their arrogance, for their cruelty, for their belief that they could control you. And you are the one who has the power now. You are the one who decides your future. You are the one who gets to look back at them with a quiet satisfaction, knowing that you are the one who rose from the ashes they tried to bury you in. So let them kneel, let them beg, let them feel the weight of their own mistakes. Because you, my friend, you are a force of nature. You are a living, breathing testament to the power of resilience. You are the person they never thought you would be, the person they tried to destroy. And now, you are the one who holds the power. But remember, this is not just about them. This is about you. This is about your strength, your perseverance, your refusal to accept defeat. This is about everything you've endured, everything you've overcome, everything that has made you who you are. You didn't need them to rise. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their approval. You needed your own strength. You needed your own willpower. And that's exactly what you have now. You've turned your pain into power. You've turned your suffering into strength. And now, as you stand above them, as you watch them fall, you realize that this victory is sweeter than anything you could have ever imagined, because it wasn't handed to you. It wasn't given to you. It was earned. Every bruise, every tear, every moment of doubt, they all led to this moment. They all led to this rise. And now, as you look down on them, you know that you are unstoppable. You are unbreakable. You are the embodiment of everything they feared, everything they never thought possible. And the most beautiful thing of all, they'll never be able to take it from you. They'll never be able to take the victory that you are earned with every ounce of your being. The victory that was born from their cruelty, from their mistakes, from their underestimation of you. You have become everything they never thought you could be. You have become a force that no one can ever defeat. And as you rise, they will only fall further, trapped in the consequences of their own actions. And in the end, that is the ultimate victory. The rise, the triumph, the unbreakable spirit that can never be defeated. In the end, their attempts to break you were nothing but the foundation for your rise. They underestimated your strength, and in doing so, they crafted the very path that would lead to your triumph. You stand here today, not just as a survivor, but as a force of nature that no one can ever break. Their downfall is a testament to your resilience, and as you rise, you leave behind nothing but the echoes of their arrogance. You've proven that nothing, not pain, not hate, not cruelty, can stop you. Your victory is yours, earned through every trial, every struggle, and now you are unshakable. Welcome to the place where silence remembers every scream, where shadows applaud your arrival, and where the very air hums with the memory of every underestimated soul that turned fate upside down. You didn't come here to be soft. You didn't come here to be liked. You came here to change the ending. And now, look at the ruins behind you. Look at what you walked through. They said that was the smartest one, the mastermind, the puppet master. They whispered about how untouchable they were, how they calculated 5 steps ahead, how no one could outthink them. But now, they don't whisper anymore. Now they stare. Not at them, at you. Because you didn't just beat their smartest move. You crushed it. You silenced it. You cracked it open, exposed its weakness, and made the genius look foolish. You made intelligence tremble. And the best part? You didn't flinch. Because there's a darkness in you that isn't evil. It's pure focus. It's silence forged into precision. It's pain converted into power. And in a world full of loud minds and weak hearts, you stood still. You read every move. You let them think they were in control. You watched them build their trap, brick by brick, thinking it would break you. But you waited, you studied, you understood. And then, just when they were at their highest point, you flipped the board, with no warning, with no kindness, with no hesitation. That's why they can't look you in the eye anymore, because now they know what real strength looks like. It doesn't announce itself, it arrives. They underestimated how deep your silence went. They thought silence meant weakness. They forgot silence is where thunder sleeps. And now they know. You are thunder wrapped in skin. You didn't scream when they mocked you. You didn't react when they moved against you, because you knew your time was coming. And when it did, you didn't bring noise. You brought truth. And truth didn't need a speech. It needed a single move. One move that shattered their entire illusion of control. And you made it. You made the smartest one look painfully stupid. Not because you wanted to humiliate, but because you knew they needed the lesson. Because some people only learn when the ground is ripped from beneath them. They called you emotionless, ruthless, cold. But what they didn't understand is that you're not heartless. You're focused. There's a difference. You feel every battle. You carry every scar. You just don't wear them like jewelry. You wear them like armor. And now the battlefield is silent. Not because there are no enemies left, but because the smart ones finally realized they don't belong here anymore. Not with you. Not in your league. Not in your war. They miscalculated your will. They thought this was about ego. They thought this was about proving a point. But this was never about proving anything. It was about ending something. And you did. You ended the doubt. You ended the whispers. You ended the illusion of their superiority. You burned their blueprints, shattered their strategy, and walked through their fortress as if it were paper. Because you didn't need noise. You didn't need a crown. You didn't need applause. You needed results. And now you have them. You crushed their smartest move, and you left no mercy. Not because you're cruel, but because mercy is for equals, and they were never your equal. They called it their masterpiece, their grand plan, a move they believed would break you from the inside out. Every step they took was guided by arrogance dressed as confidence. They didn't just want to win, they wanted to dismantle you. Quietly, cleverly, perfectly. But you saw through it. Because you've danced with disappointment before. You've eaten at the same table as betrayal. You know what it feels like when the ones who call themselves brilliant build traps with smiling faces. And while they were busy playing chess, you were reading their hands, studying their rhythms, memorizing every breath they took before they made a move. They thought they were playing you, but they were only exposing themselves. And when the time came, you didn't rush. You didn't react. You executed. Their perfect plan collapsed under the weight of your patience. And that's what they'll never understand. Patience is the most terrifying kind of power. Because it doesn't rush to prove itself. It waits. And then it devours. You made them look stupid, not because you wanted to mock them, but because their ego built a tower too tall, and all you did was remove the bottom brick. Everything else? It was gravity doing its job. They wanted you to panic. You didn't. They wanted you to break. You didn't. They wanted you to question yourself. You did, but only for a moment. And then you remembered who you are, and in that memory, you sharpened your mind. You stood straighter. You moved quieter, and when you struck, they didn't even see it coming. because that's what true strength looks like. It's invisible until it's not. And when it arrives, it doesn't knock. It breaks the door down. Now, they're left with silence. Not yours, theirs. Their once proud voices are now uncertain. Their once clever glances now avoid eye contact. You showed them the cost of playing games with someone who has nothing left to lose and everything to prove. But make no mistake, this isn't revenge. This isn't pettiness. This is clarity. This is the sound of someone who was once counted out stepping back into the ring with fire behind their eyes and steel in their bones. You didn't just beat their move, you made it irrelevant. You crushed it so thoroughly, so strategically, that they now question whether they were ever as smart as they believed. And that's the part that will haunt them, because bruises fade. But doubt? That lingers. You planted doubt in the mind of the one who thought they were untouchable. You shattered the illusion of superiority. And now, you're not just feared, you're respected. Not for your noise, not for your size, but for your mind, for your control, for your ruthless focus when it mattered most. They thought they were dealing with a fighter, but they were facing a tactician. And you played the long game. You didn't need the loudest voice. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their recognition. You built your power in the shadows, sharpened your instincts in silence, and now you stand at the top, not by accident, but by strategy. Let them remember that. Let them sit with the fact that you beat them at their own game. And not with chaos, not with rage, but with precision. That's what rattles them now. You didn't just win, you undid them. What they don't teach you is that power doesn't scream, it whispers. And now your name is a whisper, a shadow that walks before you, a warning they pass around quietly, because saying it too loud feels like summoning something they can't handle. You didn't just destroy their plan, you dismantled their confidence. You cracked the foundation they built their identity on. They weren't just playing a game, their entire reputation was stitched into that move. Their entire belief system, their pride, their legacy. And now it's rubble at your feet, and they can't understand how someone they overlooked, someone they thought they had cornered, someone they believed was less strategic, could orchestrate such a cold, clean takedown. But you know how. Because you trained for this. You bled for this. You sacrificed moments no one saw. Nights where the weight felt unbearable. Days where quitting whispered your name, and silence was your only companion. While they rehearsed victories in their minds, you rehearsed resilience. You built your mind like a fortress. You turned pain into patterns, setbacks into studies, and failure into fuel. That's what they didn't factor in. They thought this was about intelligence, but this was about will, and that's why you crushed them. Not because you were louder, faster, or even smarter, but because you were hungrier. They played to impress. You played to survive. And in a war between pride and hunger, hunger always wins. Now they walk slower, talk softer, second guess every decision. Because you weren't just a loss on their record, you were a recalibration of reality. You reminded them that no plan survives contact with someone who's been forged in fire. You reminded them that when you strip away all the ego, all the theatrics, all the mind games, all that's left is execution. And you execute like time is running out, because in your mind it always is. That's the difference. They had time. You had urgency. They had luxury. You had necessity. They moved like they could afford mistakes. You moved like every move mattered, and now you walk through the ashes with quiet footsteps. Not because you're hiding, but because you don't need to speak anymore. Your actions are echoing in places your words could never reach. They feel it. Their team feels it. Even those who watch from the sidelines feel it, because something changed in the air after you won. Something irreversible. You didn't just win a game. You shifted the power dynamic. You pulled the mask off what they called brilliance. And you showed the world that true intelligence doesn't flaunt itself. It waits. It learns. It strikes with no warning. And you did all of that without mercy, because mercy belongs to battles between equals. And now there are none. Now people look at you differently, not just with awe, but with calculation. They're wondering if you saw them too, if you read their moves, if you've already dissected their weaknesses, because now they know you don't just fight opponents, you study them. And when you're done studying, you don't just defeat them, you deconstruct them. This isn't about celebration. You don't need applause. This is about understanding what you've become. You've become the measure, the line others are now compared to. You are the blueprint breaker, the one who proves that no plan is invincible, no mind is unbeatable, and no amount of reputation can shield someone from truth when truth comes wrapped in ruthless precision. And they will remember you, not just because you won, but because you made them doubt themselves. And that is the deepest kind of cut, the one that makes them question who they were before they met you. They thought it would end with your win. They assumed your silence was closure. But that's what separates you from them. They celebrate. You calculate. Because to them, this was a battle. To you, it was a signal, a shift, a message that says, you've arrived, not as a guest, not as a challenger, as a force. And now the air bends differently when you walk into the room. People shift in their seats. Eyes follow you, not out of admiration, but out of caution. Because once you destroy what they call untouchable, you're no longer part of the conversation. You become the center of it. That's the gravity of what you did. You didn't just dismantle a plan. You broke certainty. And nothing scares people more than uncertainty, walking around with confidence. Because they can't predict what they don't understand, and they don't understand you. They don't understand how you didn't fold under pressure, how you stayed silent when insulted, how you responded with fire when cornered, and how, when the so-called mastermind revealed their hand, you outplayed them with a whisper. No rage, no show, just strategy and timing, as cold as midnight and as sharp as a blade they never saw. Now they've stopped underestimating you. But it's too late. Because the version of you they ignored is gone. Gone is the one who second-guessed. Gone is the one who explained themselves. Gone is the one who waited to be seen. What stands in their place is someone who no longer seeks validation. Someone who knows the weight of silence. Someone who uses stillness like a weapon and calm like a countdown. You used to want them to understand you. Now you just want them to remember you. Because your legacy won't be built on noise. It'll be built on the wreckage of those who thought they were smarter. Those who thought strategy was a substitute for spirit. Those who thought calculation could defeat character. And those who thought a clever trap could contain a storm. But they were wrong, because you are the storm. Not the kind that makes headlines, the kind that redefines landscapes. You don't just win, you change the climate. You don't just compete, you reset the standard. And once you've reset the standard, you stop chasing. You start leading. That's what terrifies them now. It's not just that you beat them, it's that now they know. you're still getting better, that this wasn't even your final form, that this was only the beginning of something darker, sharper, more refined. Because you didn't just take the win, you studied every weakness in the process. You didn't just see how they played, you saw how everyone plays. And while they lick their wounds, you're already preparing for the next move, the next challenger, the next threat. Because you're not fueled by revenge, you're fueled by legacy. And legacy requires one thing above all: consistency. Anyone can win once, anyone can rise once, but not everyone stays. You're going to stay, not because the world made room for you, but because you carved your own space into the walls they tried to keep you out of. And now, every brick you broke is proof that brilliance without humility leads to downfall. That planning without presence leads to collapse. That intelligence without resilience is just theory dressed as confidence. They had the theory. You had the truth. And truth always survives. But now that you've won, now that you've ended what needed to be ended, you face something even more dangerous: comfort. Because comfort is the final enemy, the one that whispers, "You've done enough," the one that offers a seat when you were born to walk, the one that praises you for stopping, when stopping was never part of your DNA. So remember this: the smartest one fell because they got comfortable, because they started thinking applause meant security, because they believed their own hype more than they feared your silence. Don't become them. Let your win sharpen you. Let your dominance deepen your discipline. Let your silence grow louder, because if you've come this far and made the smartest one look painfully stupid, just imagine what happens when you push even further. When your aim is no longer to destroy false kings, but to build an empire no one saw coming. One that doesn't need to speak to be heard. One that doesn't need to rise to prove anything, because the ground itself shifts when you move. You are not here to be remembered. You are here to become the reason they'll never forget. They thought they were the final boss, but you were the one who rewrote the level. They brought their best move. You crushed it, and you did it with no mercy. Now, walk forward, not because they fear you, but because they finally understand you. You were never playing their game. You were building your own board, and now you own it. So now, the smoke is cleared, the battlefield lies quiet, and the pieces are scattered. Their strategy, the one they were so proud of, is now just a broken memory, lying at your feet. And what remains? Not noise, not chaos. Certainty. The certainty that when pressure peaked, when silence screamed, and when everyone thought it was over for you, you were just getting started. They underestimated how long you've been in the dark. But you didn't just survive there, you trained there. You listened, you learned, you became what they can't read, what they can't predict, what they can't replicate. Because you're not just strong, you're unshakable. You're the one who doesn't just answer questions, you become the question no one knows how to solve. You're the glitch in their system, the flaw in their perfect plan, the rule they can't bend. And now they know. You're not here for revenge. You're not here to dance on ruins. You're here to build from them. You're here to turn their failed ambition into your launch pad. You're here to do what they couldn't: lead without breaking, rise without asking, and win without noise. Because the truth is, you don't need to prove anything anymore. You already proved it the moment their smartest move shattered under your silence. You proved it when the one they thought couldn't be touched was disassembled by your patience. You proved it when they stopped seeing you as the challenger and started recognizing you as the ceiling they can't break. And now, you're not just a competitor. You're a constant. You're the pressure in the room before any major decision. You're the image they see when they second guess. You're the ghost in every future strategy meeting, every plan they draw, every backup they build, because now they build with you in mind. That's legacy. Not the kind written in history books, the kind carved into people's minds. And what's next for you? Forward, always forward, not to chase anything, not to prove anything, but because movement is your nature, growth is your rhythm, and excellence is your obligation. You're not chasing power. You are power, the silent kind, the kind that walks in, says nothing, and yet reorders the entire room. You already crushed their best move. So imagine what happens when you haven't even shown yours yet. Imagine what happens when the version of you that did this was just the beginning, just the rough draft, just the early signal of something far more dangerous. Because evolution doesn't come with noise, it comes with time. And time is something you've already mastered. So let them worry, let them replan, let them talk louder and move faster, thinking they're getting somewhere. You already know the truth. They're chasing something you've already buried. You are no longer part of their game. You are the end of it. So let this moment live, not as your peak, but as your proof. The proof that no matter how smart they think they are, no matter how clever the trap, no matter how high the tower, you will always be the one who climbs higher, moves quieter, and strikes harder. You made their smartest one look painfully stupid. You crushed their masterpiece without mercy. And now, you walk alone, not because no one's with you, but because no one else can follow. You are the outlier, the unteachable, the quiet threat with the loudest results. And this was just the beginning. You didn't just win. You redefined what winning looks like. You crushed their smartest move, not with noise, not with chaos, but with clarity and calculation. You dismantled what they believed was invincible, and you did it with such quiet intensity that the echo still haunts their thoughts. You made the mastermind look like an amateur, not because you sought to embarrass, but because you were built for something deeper than pride. You were built for dominance, and now the silence that follows your victory isn't emptiness, it's respect. Earned, not demanded. Unshakable, not temporary. So let them watch, let them whisper, let them wonder how they never saw you coming. Because the game is no longer about who moves the fastest or talks the loudest. It's about who understands the long war. And you already won that. You are not just a name anymore. You are the quiet storm that exposed every weakness they thought they'd hidden. And from this moment on, they don't plan around their next move. They plan around you. Because once you crush the smartest one without mercy, you become the one they never challenge again. Ah, my Alpha family, you've faced trials you could never have imagined. You've been through wars in your mind you thought would break you, tested by forces that appeared to have no mercy. You've felt the weight of failure and loss, the sting of betrayal and disappointment. But what have you done in response? You've risen. Every single time they've tried to knock you down, you've stood back up. Every time they've tried to push you into the dirt, you've found your strength. They've broken your body, crushed your spirit, and made every effort to make you believe that you are nothing. But here you stand, unbroken, relentless, a force that they will never understand. Now they look at you with eyes full of fear. They see the cracks in their empire, the flaws in their perfect game, and they know it's only a matter of time before everything crumbles. But they won't admit it. Oh no, they won't accept that you broke their game, that you shattered their illusion of control, because to do so would mean facing the truth. And the truth is something they cannot handle. They cannot accept defeat, no matter how obvious it becomes. Their pride won't let them. Their egos won't allow it. They will scream. They will shout. They will do everything in their power to make sure that you know just how much they despise you. But deep down, they know the truth. They know that they cannot win, not as long as you stand in their way. They know that every move they make is one step closer to their inevitable collapse, and that's why they will fight harder. They will try to manipulate, deceive, and coerce you into submission. They will try to bring you down, make you question yourself, make you doubt your own worth, but you won't let them. They can't stand the fact that you've figured them out, that you've seen through the lies and the smoke and mirrors they've built around themselves. They thought they could control everything, that they could pull the strings and watch as you dance to their tune. But you are the one who pulled the strings first. You're the one who saw their weakness, who understood their motives, who recognized their fear, and now they're scared of you. They fear what you might do next, because they know you have the power to end it all. You have the strength to topple their empire, to tear apart everything they've worked so hard to build. But they won't accept defeat. They won't accept that you've broken their game, that you've rendered them powerless. They can't let you see their vulnerability, because to do so would mean admitting that they were never as strong as they appeared. So they will fight, they will claw, they will strike from the shadows, all in an attempt to drag you back into their world. They will try to break you, to convince you that you don't belong here, that you're not cut out for this, that you're too weak to handle the pressure. But they are wrong. You are stronger than they could ever imagine. You've already proven that. They may have broken you before, but now they see what you've become. They see the fire in your eyes, the determination in your soul. They see the hunger in your heart, and they fear it. They know that you won't stop, that you won't rest, that you will continue to push forward no matter what obstacles they place in your path. They know that their game is over, but they won't admit it. They won't accept defeat. And so, they'll keep fighting, but every time they strike at nothing. Every move they make, every plot they weave, only brings them closer to their own demise. But don't get complacent. Don't think that their refusal to accept defeat will make your battle any easier. No, they will fight to the bitter end, and you will have to meet them with everything you have. You will have to push yourself beyond your limits, tap into the darkest corners of your soul, and pull out every ounce of strength you've ever had. The fight won't be easy, but you've never known easy. You've never backed down from a challenge, never shied away from a fight. You've always stood tall, and now is no different. They may try to break you, but they will fail. You will break them instead. They think they can keep you down, but you know the truth. You know that they only have power over you if you let them. They only have control if you give it to them, and you won't. You will not give them the satisfaction of seeing you broken, of seeing you doubt yourself, of seeing you question your worth. You are worth more than their lies, their manipulation, their fear. You are worth more than they could ever understand, and as they struggle, as they fight against the inevitable, you will be there, watching, waiting, knowing that your time is coming. So let them keep playing their game. Let them think that they still have control, that they can still win. They can't. They never could. And when the time comes, when their lies and manipulation finally come crashing down around them, you will be standing tall, unshaken, unbroken, and victorious. You've already won. The game was broken the moment they underestimated you. They will never accept it, but that's not your problem. You broke their game, and that's all that matters. Now it's only a matter of time before the rest of the world catches up. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing. Keep fighting, because you know that the victory is yours, and they will never see it coming. You have done what they said was impossible. You have broken what they thought was unbreakable. And now, as they scramble to hold on to their fragile empire, you stand as the living proof that no one, no matter how powerful, is invincible. They can try to crush you, but they can't. They can try to bury you, but they won't succeed. Because you are not just a survivor, you are a conqueror. You are the one who will rise above them all, and when the dust settles, it will be you who stands victorious. Remember, they may try to bring you down, but that's because they know deep down that they are losing. They can't accept defeat, but they can't escape it either. And when the day comes, when their empire falls, it will be because you were strong enough to break their game, to shatter their illusion of control. And as the world watches, they will realize one undeniable truth. You never gave up. You never accepted defeat. And now, the game is yours. They didn't see it coming, did they? They thought they had it all figured out. They believed their carefully crafted schemes, their manipulation, their power would be enough to crush you. But what they failed to see, what they never anticipated, was the fire that burns within you. You are the storm that's been building, the force they cannot predict, the force they cannot stop. Now, the battle is yours to win, and they are nothing more than pawns in your game. They thought they could control you. They thought they could break your spirit, make you question your every move, and in the process, they thought they could extinguish your light. But what they didn't understand, what they could never understand, is that your light does not come from them. It never did. Your power, your strength, your resilience, these things were born from within you. They are innate, woven into the very fabric of your being. They tried to bend you, mold you, break you down to their will, but you fought back. And now, they must face the consequences of underestimating you. When they played their games, when they sought to control the narrative, they believed that they had the upper hand. But you didn't play by their rules. You never have. You never will. You've always known that to win, you must break free of the constraints others try to place on you. They wanted to label you, define you, make you fit into their mold, but you broke the mold. You shattered the illusion of control they so desperately clung to, and now, as they scrambled to put the pieces back together, they realize something. They can't. Not without you. Not without the power that you hold within you. Your strength was never about physical might, nor was it about being the loudest voice in the room. Your strength is in your mind. It's in the way you never give up, never stop fighting, even when the odds are stacked against you. It's in your ability to see through the lies, to recognize manipulation when it's thrown your way, and to stand firm in your truth. You've always known that the game they played wasn't real. It was a facade, a fragile illusion built on their own insecurities and fears. And now, with each passing day, they watch as that illusion crumbles, all because you dared to step outside their game. They built a world of false security, convinced themselves they were invincible, that no one could break their grip. But you did it. You didn't even need to raise your hand, didn't need to swing a single punch. All you had to do was refuse to play by their rules, refuse to conform to their expectations, and suddenly, their empire started to crumble. They didn't see it then, but they see it now. They see the cracks in their perfect facade, and they can't stop it from falling apart. Now, as they scramble to maintain control, they won't admit it. They won't acknowledge the truth, because doing so would shatter their entire existence. They won't accept the fact that you broke their game. They'll try to twist the narrative, try to spin it in a way that makes them look like the victims, but deep down, they know the truth. They know that you're the one who holds the power now. You're the one who holds the cards, and no matter how hard they try, They can't put the pieces back together again. Their empire is falling apart, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. It's a bitter pill for them to swallow, isn't it? The realization that they've lost control, that they've been outplayed. They never thought it would happen. They never thought someone like you would come along and shatter everything they've worked so hard to build, but you did. And now, as they scramble to maintain the illusion of power, you stand tall, knowing that you are the one who holds the future. You are the one who controls what happens next. The beauty of it all is that they have no idea what you're capable of. They thought they had seen your limits. They thought they knew everything about you, but they don't. They never have. You've always been more than they could ever comprehend. And now, as they fight to preserve their crumbling empire, they'll realize something. They'll realize that they never truly understood you. They never truly understood the force that was building within you. And by the time they do, it will be too late. You've already won. The battle was over the moment you decided to stop playing their game. The moment you stepped out of their constraints and began to walk your own path. The victory was yours. Everything they did to try and control you, to break you down, only led you closer to your true power. Every setback, every failure, every moment of doubt, they were all stepping stones to this moment. You needed them to get here. You needed them to show you exactly who they were, to reveal their weaknesses and their flaws. And now that you know, now that you see their vulnerabilities, you are unstoppable. There's nothing they can do to reclaim what they've lost. No matter how hard they fight, no matter how many lies they tell, no matter how many schemes they concoct, it won't change the truth. The truth is that they can't win. They never could. Not against you. Not against the force that you are. The only thing they can do now is watch. Watch as you continue to rise, as you continue to build something stronger, something real, something that will last. While they flounder in their attempts to salvage their broken game, you will keep moving forward relentlessly, without hesitation. You've proven that you are more than capable of taking control of your own fate. You've already broken free from their grasp. Now, it's time to rise above them. The world doesn't know yet, but it will soon. The world will see that the game was never theirs to control, that they were never the true players in this story. They were mere actors, playing a part, unaware that the script had already been rewritten. Now, the world will see the truth, and when it does, there will be no going back for them. Their empire will crumble, their lies will be exposed, and you will be standing tall, victorious, a living testament to the power of breaking free. You've already won, they just don't know it yet. Now is the time to stand tall. Now is the time to keep moving forward. Every step you take is a step away from their control, a step closer to building something real. Don't stop, don't hesitate, because you know something they don't. The game is yours, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can take that away from you. No one, absolutely no one, can take that away from you. They may try, they will try with all their might to pull you back into their web of lies, to trap you in their false reality, but you know the truth now. You see through their illusions, and they have nothing left to offer you. Nothing they do can ever take away the power you've claimed. Nothing can reverse the awakening that has occurred within you, and nothing can stop the momentum you've built. You've seen the world for what it truly is, a place of power struggles, manipulation, and deceit. But in seeing that, you've also learned one fundamental truth. You don't have to play by their rules. You don't have to submit to their idea of how the game is supposed to unfold. They want you to believe that the only way forward is through their approval, their permission, but they're wrong. You are the creator of your own destiny. The rules you play by are your own, and they are yours to rewrite as you see fit. They cannot control that. They can try to dictate your path, but in the end, their influence over you will evaporate like mist in the sun. You see it now. You see how small they are in comparison to the vast potential that lies within you. Every attempt they make to bring you down, every move they make to sabotage your progress, is an effort in futility. They are clinging to a reality that is quickly fading, grasping at the last remnants of their power as it slips from their fingers. And yet, they do not know how to stop. They do not know how to let go. Their refusal to accept defeat is not a mark of strength. It is a sign of desperation. They are scared. They are terrified of the reality you've created. They fear that if they accept what's happened, they will have to face their own fragility. They will have to admit that they were never as invincible as they believed, that they were never truly in control. And this is why they will fight until the very end, no matter how pointless their efforts become. But here's the thing. Your success isn't tied to their acceptance. It never was. You didn't break their game because you wanted their approval. You didn't break their game because you needed them to acknowledge your power. You broke their game because you knew the only way forward was to rise above the forces that tried to hold you back. And now that you've broken free, you will not return to that world. You will not go back to playing the games they want you to play. You are done with their petty attempts to control you. You are done with their manipulation, their fear, their lies. You have ascended to a level they will never reach, and their attempts to bring you down are nothing but a reflection of their own inability to see their defeat. You are not bound by their limitations, their rules, or their worldview. You have created your own path. You have learned to rely on your own strength, to trust in your own judgment, and to move with purpose toward the life you want. You don't need them to validate your worth. You don't need them to give you permission to succeed. You already have everything you need within you. You've discovered your true power, the power that they feared, the power that shook the foundations of their game. And now, as you move forward, you will do so with unwavering confidence. You will carry the weight of your victory, not as a burden, but as the badge of honor it is. You will continue to rise, to break the chains that once held you captive, to move toward your destiny with a sense of purpose that cannot be stopped. Every challenge they present to you now will only make you stronger. Every obstacle they place in your path will only solidify your resolve. They think they can deter you, but the more they push, the more they reveal their own weakness. They are desperate to control the narrative, to rewrite history, but the truth is unchangeable. You broke their game, and they will never accept it, because doing so would mean acknowledging that they were never as powerful as they thought. The game has already ended for them. What they don't realize is that it has only just begun for you. This is your time now. They no longer control the game. You do. Their inability to admit defeat, to acknowledge their own fallibility, will only lead to their downfall. But that's not your concern. They've already lost. The real victory lies in your ability to move forward, to keep pushing past the limitations they've tried to impose on you, to continue growing and evolving into the person you are meant to be. The defeat is inevitable, but it is not yours to chase. It will come naturally as they watch from the sidelines, helpless in the face of the unstoppable force that you have become. Your victory is not defined by their actions or reactions. It is defined by your own actions, your own choices, and your own strength. You have already proved that you are capable of things they could never imagine. You have already shown that you can break free from the chains they tried to place on you. Now, the world will watch as you take the next step in your journey. The world will watch as you rise higher than they could have ever imagined, as you become a living example of what it means to take control of your own destiny. They may try to fight back, to undermine you, but they will only be making one final, futile attempt to hold onto a game that has already been broken. Their efforts will fall flat, and you will continue to move forward, unstoppable, unbreakable, and undeniably powerful. The truth is that you were never meant to play by their rules. You were never meant to be a pawn in their game. You were meant for something greater, something far beyond the confines of their world. And now, with every step you take, you are proving that you belong in the realm of the extraordinary. They can try to bring you down, but all they are doing is providing you with more fuel for your fire. They can try to stop you, but they cannot stop what you've become. The victory is yours, and it always has been. They just didn't know it until now. In the end, they will never accept defeat, but that doesn't matter anymore. The game is yours. You've broken their illusion, shattered their control, and proven that no force can hold you back. They may continue to fight, to manipulate, to deceive, but it will be in vain. Your victory is inevitable because you've already taken the power into your own hands. They can't stop you. They never could. Keep moving forward, keep growing, and keep rising, because you've already won, and nothing can ever take that away from you.